Hello, Digimon Tamers of the digital world. Welcome back to the channel. We are here with another BT14 deck using real BT14 cards, as in like real cards. Like it's a real BT14 deck, but not real cards because it's not out yet. Proxies, yeah, WarGreymon. I honestly think that WarGreymon is the best deck in the format. I'm going to be just straight and honest with everyone. It's super low skill ceiling, so you don't have to think hard, which is a big attraction to some card players. But it doesn't care what you do because you just build and raising, promote, kill your opponent, and it's literally that simple. It's like 1, 2, 3. Can you count to 6? Good job. Easy deck. Yeah, this is one of those decks that just doesn't care what your opponent does, really. It just does not care at all. Your opponent's playing the game, that's cool. Just wait till I come up from the breeding area and destroy your face. That's what WarGreymon does. Just destroys your opponent's face. And I think any deck that can do that in the Digimon card game is pretty powerful. So I'm going to show you guys my build and the cards that I play in it to make it as aggressive as possible because I think that's the best way to play this deck. And let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. As well, please like and please subscribe and turn notification on Smash Potatoes. That way when you see more content like this, it's there and you know it. You love to see it. So with the eggs, we're starting and trying with the new egg, the new Coromon. When your turn, once per turn, when a card's removed from a security stack, draw a card. Or upon security stack, draw a card. It's very cool because it lets you like rookie rush and draw a card. See, it's slightly better in that sense than the Coromon egg. The Coromon egg from BT5 lets you draw when attacking the greymon or higher is cool, but the Coromon lets you draw power with Agumon. And that's really cool because in this deck, it's really easy to do 4 checks. So it's not uncommon for you to go turn 1, evolve an Agumon back, do something, turn 2, promote Agumon, swing, do a check, then turn 3, build your stack in the back, turn 4, promote and kill. It's that cookie cutter. It's actually that easy. So with that being said, this gives you some extra draw power in the early game, and that's pretty cool. I think it's fine. Now, on the rookies. 4 copies of the new Agumon. This Agumon evolves for 0, has a starter main phase ability that says Wave Tai Kamiya. This Digimon can evolve into a Greymon in your hand without paying the cost. It basically lets you do a free Evo to champion. And that's fun. That's enjoyable, isn't it? And then during your turn, it's 2000 DP. If you have Greymon or Omnimon in the name, which you will. So that's pretty powerful. This Agumon is a staple, new 4 of, super rare in the BT14. Pretty powerful card. We're also playing 4 copies of this Agumon on playable top 4, add a Greymon or Omnimon, and a Tai Kamiya to your hand. Bottom the rest, and then gives you an all turns 1000 boost. You want this Agumon because we play a lot of ties in this deck. So Agumon can grab them for you and then grab you one of your other pieces. Recently, I actually whiffed with this card. First time ever I whiffed with it. Like I revealed top 4 and no eligible targets. Crazy. But that rarely happens. That happened once. So yeah, this Agumon's pretty good. And then last rookie, 4 copies of Agumon X Antibody. When you evolve it and play it, reveal top 3, add a Greymon or Omnimon, and an X Antibody. We do play X antibodies, so sometimes it gets a double search, sometimes it gets 0, usually it gets 1. Card is pretty based. Now we move on to the champions, and we're going to talk about the 4 Greymon that gives you Sec +1. Yes, this card from the very original starter deck still sees play today, because it's a Greymon, and it gives you that extra security check, which you need to win the game. So 4 copies of it I think is an auto-include. Next we're playing 3 copies of this Greymon X. This Greymon X gives you protection from deletion by card effects or bouncing from card effects to hand or deck or whatever. All turns by stripping 2 sources of the same level. This can come up, this can save your butt, and it's there. It's 3 of. It's pretty cool. I would play 4, but the Agumon from BT14 cannot main phase evolve into Greymon X. It can only do Greymon. So 3 copies of it I think is okay. And then we're obviously playing 1 copy of this Greymon X, the one that lets you reduce your Evo cost by 1 per color, makes your BT12 Metal Greymon cost 1. That's pretty good. In addition, the all turns prevention effect, same thing, but instead of stripping 2 sources, same level, you bottom deck an X Antibody option equipped to it. Pretty reasonable, easy to do. This card's broken. It should be at 1. I don't even think it should exist, but that's a different argument for a different day. Then we finally play 2 copies of the EX1 Greymon. This Greymon doesn't come up super often, but it's come up often enough where I can warrant 2 copies of it in the deck. It has an inheritable that says when attacking once per turn, you can play a Tai Kamiya from your hand with 3 cost or less. We play some of the 3-cost ties, and this card plays it for free, which is cool. And that's why it's there. I can't play the 4-drop tie, but I have done a turn where like you raid with the metal gray with this and the sources. So you play a 3-drop tie with this and a 4-drop tie with this. It's actually super powerful. It happens more often than I think you think it would. But the Greymon here is there for just the extra free tamer. Free tamers are cool, not a really big deal. I wouldn't say it's super uncommon. I was saying earlier how like you promote with an Agumon and check 1. Well, there's no issue with promoting with an Agumon, evolving into Greymon evolving to Greymon, whatever, and then you evolve Greymon X over it, then you swing, and then you get the free tie, and then you do something else like a training or not a training, but anything else. You know what I mean? It's pretty powerful, and the 2 copies I think are warranted. But that's a tech spot. I think you could just as well play BT12 Greymon, the one that plays a tie when you evolve if you have no sources. So take it with a grain of salt. I think it's fine, but definitely a flex spot. You can do whatever you want with it. Moving right along to Ultimates. 4 copies of the Metal Greymon that evolves for 3 on a Greymon card. Gets raid and all turns when tactical is switched. Can play a black or red tamer card with play cost of 4 or less from your hand. Really good. Also inheritable piercing makes it really powerful. Sometimes it comes up. And then we play 4 copies of Metal Greymon X Antibody from BT9. The one that gives you Sec +1 automatically when you evolve, and if you have a Metal Greymon or X Antibody in the sources, it also gains 3k DP till the end of your opponent's turn. So this is one of the big OTK pieces. You get an additional check with this, you get an additional check with Sec +1 Greymon from the starter deck, and you're just cleaning up house. Really, really, really powerful stuff. And then you either need a Memory Tamer tie to do that 4th check, or this card, the new WarGreymon from BT14. This new boss monster is insanely powerful, ridiculously good, and just does not give a fuck about what your opponent does at any point in time, literally ever. It actually kind of rewards you if the opponent plays the game. I'll explain how. So this card does cost 4 to evolve always. Not really a super huge deal because you play like black tie that can reduce the cost. That's our trainings, it's fine. This card says while you have a Tamer Tai Kamiya in its name, and your opponent has a Digimon with 10,000 DP or more, when your Agumon may Digivolve into this card, ignoring the evolution requirements. This WarGreymon can be warped onto an Agumon if the opponent controls a big body. I have done this more than a handful of times. It sometimes comes up. It's a good ability to have sometimes. But that's not all. When Digivolving, it gains raid and then it may attack. And then when attacking, while you have a Tamer, this Digimon gets Sec +1 and Piercing. So if you don't have the Metal Greymon BT12 source, no problem. This guy gives you Piercing. Also gives you Sec +1. So if you combo it with Greymon and then Metal X, that's 4 checks with that right there. And, you know, raid is always super powerful, especially with Piercing, on a body that will most likely be stronger than anything your opponent has on board. Especially with Metal Grey X and other Tamers and stuff. Oh, it's pretty scary stuff. This card's really good. There are people that tell me this card isn't that good, and I think they're just on drugs or equivalently stupid. One or the other. The card's crazy. Then we're playing 2 copies of WarGreymon from BT12. This one, when Digivolving, gives you 3,000 reboot for the turn. It also has a raid, and all turns per turn, when attack target is switched, you may unsuspend this Digimon. If you give it the blocker source, thanks to the black tie, effectively you can block twice a turn. That's pretty cool. But it's really there to raid and do some extra damage if they fall into raid. Some people will be smart and not play a body for you to raid into, but some people aren't that smart, and they will do that, and then you'll win the game. So it's pretty cool. You'll love to see it. And then lastly, we're playing 2 copies of WarGreymon X Antibody. This guy costs 4 to evolve regularly, or 1 on a WarGreymon. Has an alternate effect that says when a card is removed from your opponent's security, gain a memory. And then end of attack once per turn. If you got WarGreymon X Antibody in the sources, delete your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP, which if you combo it with your other cards, could delete pretty much anything. So WarGreymon X is just there to kind of like cheek some extra deletion and maybe not skip the turn over when you evolve into it. Pretty cool card. I will give you my thoughts though on level 6 lineup. I don't think this level 6 lineup is the Bible, essentially. I don't think that this is necessarily the correct way or the incorrect way. I think it's a toolbox and you can play whatever makes you happy. or whatever that ends up being really strong against the meta. I've stuck with this lineup since the start, since I've been playing BT14 WarGreymon, and I like it a lot. Like, I've had no reason to change it, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily the correct thing. Some people might go heavier on this, some people might go heavier on this, some people might not even play WarGreyX. It's definitely a thing. So, and some people even play the BT1 WarGreymon, the one that Delicate plans on Evo. So I think that's pretty cool, and not necessarily a bad thing that the toolbox lets you toolbox, do whatever you want with it. That's my level 6 line. I like it, but if you like something else, do it. At the end of the day, you got to do what makes you happy. That's important. Last 2 Digimon in the deck are 2 copies of Blitz Omnimon, because when you do your final checks with the WarGreymon card and they have 0 security left, gotta be able to blitz for game, and Omnimon is there to do that. By the time you get there, you probably have one of these in your hand. Good card, no complaints, love to see it. We also want to keep the white cards down to a minimum because the trainings can't search white cards. Feels kind of bad. Alright, on to Tamers. We're playing 4 copies of the 3-drop black tie from ET12. The one that started main phase or on play gives something 1k in blocker to one of your augmented Greymon cards. And then your turn, if something digivolves into Greymon or Omnimon, you can suspend this to gain memory. So it makes your evils cheaper and makes your big guys blockers and stronger. Pretty powerful Tamer. And then we're playing 2 copies of Memory Tamer Time, because that extra sec +1 definitely comes up, and the Memory Tamer definitely comes up. So, yeah, that's it. Great. Now on to options. We're playing 4 copies of Offense Training. Offense Training, reveal top 2 cards of your deck, add a red card to your hand, on the other card, and then delay, reduce your next evolution cost by 2. Pretty scary stuff. Has a Digivolve into a red Digimon card to do it, so it doesn't work with Omnimon, but that's really not a big deal. Trainings are broken, and this deck will take advantage of them for sure. Especially with like the ties that reduce costs as well, like and Greymon X, oh my god. Actually kind of gross. So yeah, 4 trainings I think is mandatory in this deck. Yeah, I think you can play 3 and like it's okay, but I really think 4 is the way. And then lastly, 2 copies of Vex Antibody, because sometimes you need to trigger your accidental evolutions or cheat, and that's a really good card. That's it for the deck. That's WarGreymon BT12. The deck is just really strong. I really do think it's the best deck in the format, BT14. It's not saying much because, I mean, Ultimate Cups are a different format, doesn't really matter, and there's not many regionals BT14, but if you want to bring something to locals and decimate, if you want to like bring some historic champs and decimate, WarGreymon is probably the deck for you. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye!